Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to our advanced 3D design class featuring DuckQuote, our wonderful program. And DuckQuote, of course, continues to evolve and gain new features and improvements. And this webinar series on the advanced 3D design is our way of keeping you abreast of those changes and helping you get the most out of this tool. Now, my name is Steve Rayburn. I will be your trainer or host today. And in this session, we're going to be working to help you develop your ability to think in 3D. And this is something that really is vital to you being able to get the most out of DuckQuote when you're drawing systems. As a bonus, once we've worked through thinking in 3D, we're also going to take a look at the new configurator and walk you through using that a little bit to show you how to create bills of materials quickly without actually having to draw a system. So without further ado, let's kind of hop into things and let's start talking about thinking in 3D. Now, here we have something that this is what we typically get, a plan view of a layout. And think about this, the ability to take a 2D drawing, like you're looking at here, with a top or a plan view, a side view, a front view, a back view, that kind of thing, and then visualize the drawings coming together into that 3D representation. Now that is a skill that can be developed through practice. It also allows you to understand the system that you're going to draw in DuckQuote from a placement point of view, how things will relate to each other in 3D space. Now, as I said, we have here our plan view of a layout. And this is very often the only view that people provide or even look at, really. But this doesn't give us things like heights and elevations, etc. And some parts of the system may actually be hidden from you. Now, I want you to look at this plan view and think, what missing information might we have and how would we find it? So what let's take a look at next is this same system, but let's take a look at the back view. All right, so this is from the back of the system, and we can see that sure enough, we had at least 2 drops here that were hidden. In fact, the drop here was hidden as well. But I'm going to challenge you to think. This view is giving us some additional information, but not everything that we need. So I want you to think for a moment, looking at this, remembering the plan view. And if we were to look at this, say, from the left, what that might look like. So if we come in and take a look at the left side, now we start to see details that were never before visible. And even in this view, some things get hidden. For instance, we don't really get a good view of what that drop looks like. We had a better view from the back of that one. And so I'm going to ask, we've had a back and we've had a left. Now, is what you're looking at now what you imagined, right? Now take a moment and review the plan view, then the back view. We're going to walk through them again. Plan view. Remember the back view. And now we come back to this left view. Okay. Are you beginning to see how these different views come together into one three-dimensional systems, how they connect, how they represent different pieces of information about the actual three-dimensional system? One more time, let's go back to the plan view, back from here to the back view, and then again, the left view. So looking at those, thinking about them, I want you to imagine what this system might look like from the front. Think of it as being opposite from the back view. So here's the back view again. The opposite of this, imagine it in your mind. And here's our front view. Again, there's some information here that we didn't have in the back view, but there's information from the side views that isn't really well represented here, and vice versa. So again, this is our front view. This is our back view, okay? Notice that one of the things that's an issue is that a lot of times in drawings, you have objects that block views of parts of the ducting system. So that's the back. We go to the front view. You can see now that we can see those parts that were hidden, but the duct itself can even hide some things. So in this area here, if we were to go back to the left view, we get a much better view of what that looks like coming into that collector. All right. So now that we are looking again at the left view, I want you to, in your mind, imagine and think, what would this look like from the right view? And there's our right view. And once again, this shows information here and here that the left view hid from us, but there's information hidden by the body of the collector about that drop, as well as the body of this edge bander about this drop to the edge bander. So once again, all of these views you have to be able to take a look at in your mind and then kind of compile them, if you will, and give yourself this. So let's go ahead and open it up and take a look. And I think you'll recognize that what we have here is the system that we have been looking at. I'm going to turn off a few things just so that things look a bit more normal, but this is our system. And being able to take all of those views and interpret them allows us to put this together. Okay? And again, the skill that you're trying to develop is to be able to, in your mind, take something like this plan view and turn it into a front view, a right view, a left view, a back view, all right? Or vice versa, to take those views and bring it to what it is that we create in duck quote, the 3D view. All right, so with that, we're gonna step out of this. And I'd like to talk to you a little bit about our configurator. Now, those of you who have been paying attention to DuckQuote, you'll notice a new button has come here on the project page. New CFG stands for Configurator Quote. Now, if we click this, again, just like starting a new layout, you're going to be asked to give an actual name. We'll just call this one training. And we click OK. And this is our configurator page. Here on the right, we have the bill of materials, which will fill as we request parts. Over here are all of the ribbons, and they open up with the settings ribbon, the duct, elbows, and branches already open. If you click on the ribbon, you can toggle it between open and closed. So that's what they would all look like closed. Opening things up, you simply click on the ribbon. Now, what I would like to show you is something called cascading selection. So for instance, if I were to come up here and tell the system, I'm going to be working in settings with galvanized flanged duct, notice that all of my ends down here in lower ribbons have been changed to flanged. If I change to rolled lip, they cascade down to rolled lip. Here in duct, if I say I'm going to work with, say, oh, let's just say 6-inch duct, the 6-inch diameter cascades into the elbows as well. All right. So this can actually speed things up for you. And that is, in fact, the whole point here, generating a bill of materials for a quote without actually having to draw anything. So let's just take a really quick look at, I'm going to throw together, let's say, 2 pieces of rolled lip duct. All right. So we have 6-inch selected already, and this is all going to be galvanized. And we could simply use the up or down arrows to select things, or I can highlight it and type in how many pieces I want. I also am going to want 2 adjustable sleeves to go with these 2 pieces of duct. So I'm going to go ahead and select those. If I click add, it turns green and tells me that it's added the parts I've asked for, and you can see them show up over here on the bill of materials side. So let's say we also want to put in a 90-degree 6-inch elbow. So we've already got 90 degrees selected. You can select any of the 4 degrees here. And let's say it's going to be a 1.5 times D, our standard. And all we want is one of these, and stitch welded is typical. So if we hit add, again, you'll see we get the elbow here. But notice we've got our clamps keeping track of the parts that we've selected. So now let's try something a little bit different. Let's say a reducer. Let's say that we need a reducer that starts at 8 inches and is going to finish at 6 inches. And we need one of these. Click add. And again, we get our reducer. Okay. We get the one 8-inch clamp for the 8-inch size of reducer. And now let's take a look at something, and I'm going to close some things up so that you don't get confused by too much on the screen. Branches. And let's say that we are going to take a single branch, and it's going to start with a 10-inch. The next size is going to be 8, and then our lateral itself is going to be 6 inches. Now, we've been working with 6 and 8-inch rolled lip, and we're going to keep those, but let's say that this 10-inch is going to connect onto existing duct that is flanged. And if we add that, note that we get that exactly a 10-inch flanged, an 8-inch rolled lip, and a 6-inch rolled lip all ready to go. We've just built a custom part, literally on the fly. Now, here's another thing that hasn't been available, but is coming in the actual duct quote drawing. But let's pretend that we want to actually also order, say, 2 pieces of 8-inch duct, but it's not going to be standard gauge. But we don't need the super heavy. We're going to ask for a custom gauge. When we select that here in settings, the gauge selection appears for us. So again, we want 2 pieces of 8-inch rolled lip duct, but we want it to be, let's say we want 16 gauge. So we come down and we select 16. Now if we click add, again, we get a green sign. And if we look up here, we had 2 pieces of 6, and now we've got 2 pieces of 8 that are 16 gauge. And notice it's automatically calculating our surcharge along the way. So from here, we can either save and just hop back to the project, which I'll show you. And you can see we have a configurator quote right there. Or if we were open like this, we could save it and go straight to our proposal writer. And this will be the same proposal writer you're used to. There's just one difference. There is no add 3D drawing button because there's no 3D drawing, okay? But as you can see, the rest of it operates exactly as you remember. So you can show or not show different parts, including pricing. It's just the same system that you had before. All right. Well, that's kind of an introduction to your configurator, and I very much encourage you to go back to the main menu. We do have in the training videos, way at the top of the list, we've got both model editor as well as DuckQuote configurator training here. Now, this is one of the longer ones because we literally go through every single ribbon showing it to you. And I would also tell you, be absolutely sure, because we are constantly updating things, remember at least once a week, go up here. I'm in Chrome, so I'm going to show you in Chrome. Make sure that you remember to clear your cache. That makes sure that you're reaching out and hitting the latest and greatest versions of the different parts of DuckQuote. So that's it. I want to thank you guys for your time. And again, enjoy. You guys have a great week.